Boa noite, pessoal. Como estamos? Estamos com duas luzes aqui, com duas conexões, ou melhor, uma conexão apenas. O outro é a nossa luz e a nossa conexão aqui. E agora nós vamos falar. Sorry! Today I have to talk in English. How are you guys? Are you okay? Everything is fine in your life? I hope that COVID time is not make you be crazy. It's permitting you to have a different moment in your life. I hope that pandemic time had finished the place where you live, and I hope that all of you be happy with all the things that happened. I hope that none of you had lose a parent, someone that you love, a friend or something like that. But I really know that a lot of us lost friends and important people in our lives. But at this moment we are so crazy, and now we are alive here and we are talking. We are doing this video, and I am thinking on this moment that maybe I think that's fine. I was thinking that I should have uh, to record this in other position, but this video will be to YouTube, so I don't think that I will have problem in the position of the camera. So today we talk about the neurological problems in horse. I'm not a neurologist in horses, specialized in my country. We don't have specialization in neurologic in horse. I think so. Some specializations in canine pet we have in neurologic, I think. But I have an approach in clinic in horses, in athletic horses especially. I studied more than 30 years back problems, and I am a chiropractor. I made a training in chiropractor in the United States in 2010, and I am an acupuncturist. I am a human acupuncturist since 2014. I think 2000 and no, sorry, 2004 I started. I finished 2006, and after I had my specialization finished, and I did some courses in animals, in horses in United States and in China. I did acupuncture and animals in general. So we're talking about today. What we were talking about is about the experience, a large experience that I had in horses clinical, especially in horses problems. I am have the video on Instagram is stopping, so if it's not working, I'll finish this and we stay only with that I will put in the. Let me just see what's happened here. Okay, it's gone. So maybe I had some problems on the internet. I was talking about my formation, my background. So in my experience, I have seen so many horses with neurological problems, and the idea to do this this talk, is exactly to spread the experience that I had in seeing horses all around the world with a wrong diagnosis in neurological condition, and diagnosed by very important and very skilled veterinarians. So we know that all of us can do a wrong diagnosis, but the most important question that I want to assign here is the necessity that you have to think about all the things that can be happen when you're doing a diagnosis. We can't only do a diagnosis about one thing. We can't see a horse and see a neurological condition and think this is this condition because this walk like that or move like that or sit like that. No, we have to study the case. Neurological condition always is something with a lot of surprising happen. Sometimes you think one thing, sometimes this change totally. So you have to be carefully to do a neurological approach. So in my country, I saw in 2001. It was the second year that I was living here in Rio de Janeiro, where I live. There was a conference here in Rio de Janeiro where came uh, a scientist, British veterinary scientist, and she talked about that how much you have of overdiagnosis of one pathology or neurological pathology in all the world. When I say overdiagnosed is because this diagnosis is so much being made that you don't have so many animals, so many individuals really with this condition, with this diagnosis. So, which is this pathology? Why this thing happened? This thing happened because here in this country, and I believe in a lot of others, especially United States and maybe on other ones too. People look one sign and people just send this focus to only one pathology. The sign is the wobbler. What's wobbler? Wobbler is like you had drunk and you are walking like that. You are almost falling. You are almost going to the floor. You have no. You are very unstable. So you walk like that, almost, uh, especially at the right lines. So in these conditions, all the most part of the people send this sign to one pathology that is EPA, equine protozoomyeloncephalitis, that is only one of the horse's problems. We have more than 10 types of neurological conditions, neurological pathologies in horses. So that have this sign, this clinical sign. So remember, you have it to amplify your spectrum. You have to see a lot of things, not only think in one thing, not only to address to one especially pathology, to one especially uh, problem. No, you have much more than. Um, it's very important because this happened in all the world. How I said before, I saw, for example, in the United States in 2010, I saw at Florida University one horse. He had been the Arabian world champion, and he had been diagnosed wrong. His veterinary had diagnosed him with this condition, this pathology, exactly because this horse have the wobbly movement. He was like he was drunk. So this veterinary only see this condition, only see this movement. And he said, okay, I will treat here for this condition, he'll be fine. But this doesn't happen because this horse haven't know this condition. I just stop a little bit because on Instagram we had a little pause again. I think that I'm having problem with my internet because today is Friday night, and unfortunately, in this city, I'm in Rio de Janeiro. They sell to you a quantity of internet, but they don't deliver you how much they sell. So in days like today at night, all the people are in home. They are wanting to see some pictures, some movies. They are download movies. They are using the high quantity of their internet, and sometimes they had a broke time in another ones. So let me see if this is working. I had some people watching. Just a minute, please. I hope that's go. And this video, you don't have how to stop to the break. So sorry. Let's see. Okay, it's going. So we're talking about this horse that was in the United States and had been diagnosed to equine protozoal myeloencephalitis and doesn't have it. So this horse was treated with the treatment that cost more than $5,000. And this horse, after the treatment, he didn't improve. So the owner was very upset and sent this horse to the Florida University, where he was delivered to the acupuncture sector, the acupuncture service. So when he arrived to Dr. Shea, that is the mainly teacher of the acupuncture nowadays and in the United States, he received this horse and he did the any scan that is called that he used the one piece of that used to acupuncture the mandrill. He used it to feel the sensibility of all the body of this horse. And when it did the scan on cervical, this horse was had very low sensitivity. Was very different the sensitivity on the neck to all the body of this horse. So Dr. Shea thought about he probably had some problems on his neck, and he sent this horse to the X-ray at the university, and they took the X-ray of him, and they could see that he had a fracture on the cervical. So on this fracture was possible. It was causing a compression. There is a swelling, and that was causing a compression on the middle. And this compression was making that this horse have a wobbler walk on the hind line. This is so important because, for example, on my country, on this city that I work, I had seen some colleagues here talking about why a cervical should cause wobbler wobbler movements on the hind limbs. Yes, it causes cervical can cause something on the front limbs or in the hind limbs. This is neurological condition, so you cannot think that if you have a problem in hind limbs, you don't have something on cervical. Yes, you can have. This case is a very important, interesting case that you are having, and nobody was seeing that this was happening. So this horse was diagnosed of a fracture of cervical, and was treated with electroacupuncture for the fracture. And he took some herbs, Chinese herbs, for treat the cervical and promote the healing and diminish the swelling, promote the healing of the bones, and to promote a better circulation and flow of the energy and of the blood on the nerves and especially the medulla. So this is just one case, the most important, because this is an Arabian, a world champion horse that had a wrong diagnosis. Imagine if you don't have one higher specialist in acupuncture there that should do this diagnosis, and this horse will be wobbler, will be with a neurological problem for how long time. So it's very important that you open our eyes, that you can see very narrow. We never have to think about only one pathology when we are seeing about diagnosing neurological condition in a horse or in a dog or in a cattle, independently which are the animal that they are treating. Other cases, for example, I lived another case so interesting and at the same time so ho- horrible that should be on this very close time. It was the last year when I was treating a broke the horse on the hip, and the horse, of course, because he was closed to the stall for 3 months. This horse had been um, the horse lose a lot of muscles. Of course, he was on this table for 3 months. He lost a lot of muscles, and especially quadriceps femoral muscles that are responsible for maintain the tonus of the patella. Yes, they stifle. So stifle have the three of the male, one the front, two, one lateral, one medial, and another posterior of the quadriceps femoral muscles. So this muscle, when it loses the condition of the athletic condition, they stay very weak, and this hind was weak. This stifle was weak. So this horse sometimes moved on the he did little movements on the stall, and when he did the movement, he almost felt. He I'm trying to show you how it's happened. It's like he did like that. It was like this is the stifle of the horses, and when he put the weight on the stifle, he did like that. And for the holder of this horse, he thought that his horse has a wobbler condition only because this, and he told to the veterinarian that he that is possible that his horse had a wobbler. So can you see how important, how effective is this for a horse that is being treated for a pelvic fracture? Imagine if this horse was diagnosed with a condition, a neurological condition together with the same at the same time. It's horrible. So how important is we don't think only about one thing. If this horse was in the hands of other veterinarian, there is a clinician that treats him. Maybe other veterinarian, the clinician think that she could have. Maybe this could be the sentence of death of this horse, but it wasn't for God, because this clinician could see that this horse had no neurological condition. But how I said in the principle, it's very important that you have open eyes, that you have a narrow view, that you never think about only one condition. You have more than 12 neurological conditions in horse, that you can have a neurologic walk or a wobbler walk, where the horse can lose the stability, can be unstable to walk, to move. So it's extremely important, and it's the main thing why you are talking about this situation here. I have two other cases. One is the horse that I put on this picture of this video of this live. This horse, the veterinary on that was treating him, he really didn't think about it should be this first disease that I said that is overdiagnosed in all the world. He thought that it's what's not happened. This was not happened on this horse, but he didn't know exactly what's happened. In this case, I unfortunately I shouldn't see this horse personally, because at the day 2 days before I go to see him, he had some problems and he unfortunately he died. But this horse looks like ones that I saw so many years ago that have had uh, the name is I forgot, equine motor neuron disease. This SAGLO, the name in English can be EMND. So this condition, equine motor neuron disease, is a condition that happened to in humans, where they have a part of the the medulla that suffer specifically, especially because uh, some places where these horses are have a low increase of selenium at the floor of, at the pasture. So this condition happen especially in places that have a low degrees of selenium on the pastures, and this horse show a loss of coordination, show this wobbler walk, like he is drunk, he was drunk, and this horse appears with this is the hind limb, like the hind limb stay a little more down, and especially if you look with some days, if you look a place after the lumbar, in the finish of the lumbar vertebra, the lumbar area, you can see some atrophies of the muscles, and sometimes a dip, like a protrusion, close to the finish of the lumbar. This is a condition that is perfectly treated. Here in my country, I'm talking about from Brazil. Here you have difficult to treat this condition because we have to give high dose of selenium and E vitamin, and in this country we don't have this in injectable, because this condition had to be treated with injectable uh, medicines. Is not enough the oral, and some horses that I'm some horses that is using these oral vitamins and selenium minerals, it's not enough, because sometimes they are intestine aren't able to absorb this, and these horses present show that condition that is very important and can be treated, and uh, it's important that you have a right diagnosis. For example, this horse that was showed on the picture, this horse, the owner, she is a practical, and she thought that the horse had only a lame, because he started with a light lameness of the hindline, and she thought that something was happening, and she gave some anti-inflammatories, non-steroids, to him, and he improved a little bit, and she maintained him on the training. He was using to lunging to voltail, and after more days, the horses appear again with their signs, and it starts to improving. At in 1 month, the horse has a neurological conditions. So this is so important. This little time that you are talking about so important, because we have to know that you have different things happen with these animals. You can have much more information. You need to uh, ask, you need to go directly to have to touch the horse, to move the horse one side, to do curves, to put a piece of wood and let the horse doing higher movements of the lines. We have to evaluate a lot of movements, a lot of different conditions on that horse first, or after you do diagnose. And sometimes you cannot do a diagnosis at the first time. Sometimes you go to see the horse, sometimes you talk with the owner, and you have to be simple and say, I don't know on this time what's happened with your horse. I'm trying to discover, but the signs that he's showing me isn't enough to me to a close diagnosis, to be very precise and to give a better treatment for him. But I will start the treatment, I will give a better condition to him on this moment. But uh, each time, sometimes, how I said before, neurological conditions can change every moment. It's like a box, surprise box. You open it and you see one thing. After you open it again and come another thing. Extremely different, completely different at the first thing that you see. That is so. So it's very important that you we have it to be we have to be sure that you are doing our best work at that moment. You have to be sure that you are seeing all the things of the horse. You have to see the nose. You have to see the eyes. You have to see the ears. You have to touch the parts of the body. You have to touch the neck. You have to touch the lumbar, the thorax. You have to try to find some fractures. Sometimes you can touch a fracture. Sometimes you can touch a vertebra and this is hot. It's happened. It's possible. So we need to use all the possibilities that you have. And remember, I am talking all this for you because I have seen in my practice 5 cases of long diagnosis, 4 cases of long diagnosis. Once almost was, and one of the most important was in the United States when was being wrong diagnosed for a world champion, an Arabian world champion. So a very good veterinarian in a very good place, one probably of the better veterinarians in the United States, of course, that did the wrong diagnosis. And the same thing, exactly the same condition occur here in Rio de Janeiro. I had the experience. This video of this horse is in my channel of YouTube. I will put this live on there if you want after to see all this, because it will be there in my channel. It's the same like here, Doutora Gaúcha Vet. And this that I saw here was that this horse was that wrong diagnosis with two veterinarians, two important veterinarians of horses here in Rio de Janeiro. Two had the two did the wrong diagnosis on this horse, exactly because what we were talking about. They only see one thing and they send this directly to that diagnosis. And that diagnosis, how we are talking about, I said in the initial of this talk, was the overdiagnosed in all the world. So these diagnoses are being made wrong in all the world. Okay, I do the exam. I will send the exam for the laboratory and I will have the right diagnosis. No, this condition that I'm talking about, the wrong diagnosis is EPM, equine protozoal mesencephalitis. This diagnosis is overdiagnosed in all the world. You will do the exam and this will be contaminated. When you put the needle to take the liquor, this will be contaminated. The only right diagnosis of this condition is post-mortem. There is no diagnosis, no 100% or 90% or 80% correct of this disease with the animal life. You have to put this horse down and you have to open the cranium to see into the pathological histopathological exam. It's impossible to have a correct diagnosis only with the blood or with the liquor test. So this last horse that I'm talking about is this horse that was diagnosed here in Rio de Janeiro. It was a racing horse with 2 years old, and he started with a wobbler condition. He started to walk like drunk. She was a female. She started to have a uh, very increased in instability. He walked with very loss, with a good loss of stability, especially on the hindlimbs. And she was treated like the ones in the United States. She was treated for equine protozoomyeloencephalitis, and she didn't approve. She didn't improve nothing. She maintained the same signs like the Arabian horse in the United States. So this horse, I win. It was put. She should be put to sleep, and they gave to me the one of the man on the stall gave me the horse, and I treated her for after a lot of things, a lot of observations of this horse. I saw that um she won't go to the pasture. She won't go to feed herself at the pasture. She opened too much the um, the limes, the front limes, like a horse do like that for go to the pasture. She did it to grass. She opened a lot, more than 1 meter. And I took a picture because I had seen this picture in a book. I have two books that has this picture. One is a neurological book that I have, and one is the book of X-ray. The It's here clinical radiology of the horse of Sue Dyson and the other guy who Hudson, no, the other guy from Britain. So this was a wobbler condition. This is the really wobbler syndrome. That is a condition that occurs when you have um, a younger horse that is in growth, they had a bad development of the vertebra, so the body of the vertebra don't develop correctly, and the channel where the medulla will be, the channel this channel compress the medulla, especially in some moments when they move the neck. And I only did an X-ray of the neck of this horse, and it was possible to see that he have Wobbler syndrome and not the other. Why the treatment of EPM didn't work on this horse? Because it's not this condition. Like you are talking here about, when you have a Wobbler sign, when a horse has a loss of proprioception or um, a condition that it is look like he had drunk, an instability condition, this horse can have a lot of other problems. This is the only thing that I want that you remember. One horse with a wobbler pace, with a condition that he walked like a drunk once, with loss of proprioception, with unconditional of a right movement, this horse can have a lot of neurological conditions. It's not one type of. So remember this. When you have when you were in front of a horse with strange movements, pay attention. Open your mind, look very narrow, think narrow, and observe, because you can take a lot of informations on this horse. And all these things can let you, can permit you, can send you to do a right diagnosis, because a wrong diagnosis may cost the life of this horse. This horse that I win will be put to sleep. To sleep. This horse will not. This horse didn't was killed because someone gave it to me and I could find the problem. But this horse and how many others had been put to sleep because had a wrong diagnosis. So we have to think about. We have to think about the condition that you are seeing, the narrow possibilities, and we have to try. We have to go to the books. We have to say, I don't know exactly what is happening in this moment. I will study. I will see some informations. I will talk with one colleague, because nobody knows everything. I will talk with one colleague that I know that he had a practice with that one day. I'm asking for some help. I will do what I can now, and I will ask for more help, and I will treat your horse better. This is important. I am very comfortable to say this for you, and I am very confident on it, because all the owner, if you love, if you like the horse, they will be very thirsty that he wants to help his horse. And nobody knows everything. You have to learn. And you learn with the practice. And you have to learn. You have to use the things that happen with us for you learn more. So, guys, if I know that there are some people here. Yes, Thiago is talking here in Portuguese. I will not answer in Portuguese. Sorry, Thiago, because this is our practice English, and because this will be recorded in English for other veterinaries or practices or riders that speaks English or other language and can talk in English for they can see this. Yes, this is very it's a challenge. They are a challenge. They are challenging conditions that make us to think, that make us to study, that make us to review our books or the works that you have, and we are here to learn. We are here to do our best and to talk with your colleagues and have some informations. So, if nobody has nothing more to talk, I'll finish it because we are talking for 40 minutes. And this is a very good experience for me because it's a possibility to practice the hourly English that you have to improve. And thank you for the colleagues and for all the people that came here and let some hi or only came to see what's happened. I'm very thankful for each one of you. Let me do a print here. Uh-oh, the print's not going, working. 1, 2, 3, print. So thank you for your time. Thank you, Thiago. Thank you, the other ones. And we will talk about the next week. You have to talk about the live that you did last week about the horses that have prostheses, like the dogs and cats and humans. You have horses having prostheses. So the next week we'll talk about the process in English and Spanish, and tomorrow we will have this same live in Spanish for people that talk in Spanish and for you practice our Spanish. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us on this moment, and I will see you the next time. Bye bye. I see you next time. Thank you. And remember, this will be recorded in YouTube channel, the Tura Gaúcha Veg. And let's finish this. Sorry.